About upcoming changes, let's bring Chase Fraser up here. We're going to put together a panel, Disruptors in Tech. If you don't know Chase, again, experienced entrepreneur and fund manager, FM Capital, Fraser McComb, from West Texas to University of Texas, Austin to Boulder.
That's right.
Okay, rock and roll.
Good to see everybody. So Chase Fraser, I am with FM Capital. We are an automotive-only technology fund. So as Charlie said, we invest only in auto tech. It's a lot of the dealer tech that you guys see out there. We are investing out of our fourth fund, so we are $400 million. We're managing $400 million. We're raising our fourth fund right now, which is $125 million. Today is really fun for me. We're going to get two people up here that I just have the utmost respect for. Let's hear it for Jay from Tekion. Thanks for coming, Jay.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. So I've jotted down some questions here, but I'd love for this to be kind of free-flowing. Are you good with that?
Okay.
So everybody here wants to hear about Tekion, obviously, but they also want to hear about Tesla. So we got to spend a little time on Tesla. Let's go back in time though. Your early part of your career, VMware and Oracle, is that correct? Right. Spend a bit of time on that period of your life.
Sure. Yeah, I started my professional career in high tech. Started with Oracle in their headquarters here in Redwood Shores, building what used to be called as enterprise applications, ERP. I think they're still calling that today. Kind of morphed into SaaS. There is no clear line there, but end of the day, it is software that runs businesses. That's kind of what I was. That's how I started at Oracle. Spent almost 8 years building Oracle ERP, which runs some of the largest global corporations. That's where I learned developing software for large businesses and enterprises. Had a great opportunity to join VMware right around their IPO. Was fortunate. VMware was looking for someone to run all of their internal applications. So joined there and then stayed there for almost 5 years. Great growth. The company grew from few $100 million to almost $40 billion in market cap. Almost $5 billion in revenue and almost $40 billion in market cap. So great growth. Learned a lot. That's when Tesla came looking for someone. Honestly, I didn't even know the name at that time. I had to look up who Tesla was.
Oh, really? Now, so jumping to that, we all want to hear about Elon, right? And you're such a humble guy. You don't like talking about Elon, but did Elon interview you?
Yes, twice.
Twice? Tell us about that.
So I should say in 2010, before Tesla IPO, they reached out to me first time. I should say thanks to the executive recruiter. She was very, very persistent, and I think I was lucky because I ignored her through LinkedIn. At that time there used to be desk phones. She used to leave voice messages my desk phone at work. And I think she was so persistent. Finally, she caught me on the phone one of the days, and she said, "Jay, you need to come and see what we are doing." And we are Tesla. And then she said, then I kind of gave some reasons, like I'm not looking for a job. I'm comfortable. Everything's going well for me. Then she's like, how hard it can be. We are right across the road. I said, like, really? You're right across the road? Yes. There is a VMware office right across the road. I didn't sit in that building, but not too far. I was in the next street. So literally, she said, you have to just walk across the road to come and meet us. And I'm sure you should meet Elon. Went and met him. This was before Tesla's IPO. Spent a good amount of time with their executives. Finally, I had an hour chat with Elon first time, 2010. I was very intrigued. They had Roadster, which was not even made by Tesla at that time. Right. Lotus was making the car. Tesla did the powertrain. And then I don't think they even released the concept of Model S yet. Mm-hmm. They did tell me about it during the interview. After a lot of deliberation, they couldn't give me attractive enough offers, so I had to politely decline. I mean, being nice always helps, so I went in person to decline the offer. So I went again in person and said, sorry guys, I mean, I'm quite excited, but it's not going to work out because it's not attractive enough for me to leave what I'm doing right now. So I stayed back at VMware. I think they hired someone, and then I got a call again after a year. And then the same recruiter spoke to me, and she said, Jay, how are you doing? And I said, I'm doing great. And she said, would you be open to come and meet Elon? I said, yeah, definitely. It would be. What is it about? And she said, it's, honestly, Jay, knowing Elon, I couldn't ask much what it is. Most likely it's about a job, so it's better you ask him directly. I said, okay, let me come and meet him. So that's when I went again. This is 2011, December. And he convinced me to join this time, and I still had to take a pay cut, but I was able to negotiate some more stock options,
Sure.
which worked out okay.
Yeah, slightly.
Got me, which helped me get out and start my own company, which is Tekion.
I love it. And so you helped build their ERP. Was the ERP, in some ways it's a DMS, right? And so did it help you kind of say, okay, this was a nice transition into...
Yeah, it's much more than ERP. So what, I had a great opportunity, I should say, thanks to Elon to give me that opportunity. It was not easy. It was extremely, anything to do with Tesla, I'm sure people know now, anything to do with Tesla is extremely, very intense. I had an opportunity to build entire Tesla software ecosystem, excluding the vehicle infotainment, which I was not in charge. But outside of that, I would say pretty much everything, from Tesla.com, if you would call it their e-commerce or digital retailing, all of those I had an opportunity to build. In fact, I had an opportunity to sit with Elon and design click by click how the buy experience should be, the vehicle buying experience should be.
That's cool.
And then we built the ERP. Tesla used to run SAP, so we replaced SAP to a system that we built. The idea was not about replacing. The idea was, how do you create a seamless vertical integration with a closed feedback loop to its customers. That was the grand idea that Elon had. He didn't explain it to me in detail. For him, it was a one-line, task for me to go get it done. And I'm glad I was able to get a fantastic team. And we pulled it off. So we built the entire system, everything from Tesla.com to internal order management, supply chain, logistics, and then factory systems. Finally, Tesla retail store system. So that's when I got to know a lot more about the automotive retail. In fact, I had to study more about the automotive retail. I spent a lot of time, of course, outside of being a consumer, I had to go deeper, spent a lot of time with other OEM executives, spent a lot of time with dealers, how they are doing their business. That's when I got to learn more and more, and I felt, wow, that was 2012. Like, why is it so backward? I felt like this is such a big industry. We're all consumers. We're paying so much money. I couldn't believe how backwards things were, like how disconnected the experience is. And I think later and later I learned this was just, evolved over a period of time. Now I know deep kind of reasons what happened, but I felt this is a big opportunity that I think I could go solve. Build a platform, build a business. If Tesla at that time was 0.2% of the industry, I felt that means 99.8% of the industry is underserved. How can I really, build a platform and build a business?
So before we jump to Tekion, just one more Elon, because in this room, everybody wants to talk about Elon or hear more about Elon for sure. What is his best characteristic as a leader? We hear about a lot of the other stuff, Elon stuff, right?
Yeah.
What was it about you that you walked in the room and you said, I want to work for this guy?
Yeah. So few things. The first is the vision we all know now. At that time, it was almost close to unrealistic, but quite interesting vision, right? So what he wanted to build. Rewinding back, first time when I met him in 2010, now I think for people it's obvious. At that time it was not obvious. Even during part of the interview, because my position was reporting to him all the time, so I asked him what's his vision, what's his roadmap like for Tesla. So he started talking about how he wanted to build first premium luxury brand and deliver a car, which was the Model S, and he wanted to use the same base to build a premium SUV. And he even kind of said very briefly about like why he chose the premium, because he said the margins are high and he wanted to use the margins to reinvest to build a mass market vehicle. He even touched a little bit about his vision. Someday he wants to build a electric truck. And see, now people feel like, the vision was so grand and so big. To a degree, it felt almost unrealistic, but it's attractive. For me, I'm an engineer, by career growth. Anything that needs to be built, that is challenging, I felt I want to try that, right? So first is the vision. The second is execution. He is now, as we all kind of see it in social media, publicly also from execution. He's relentless in execution. So the thing with him, which I kind of, few combination very rarely you get. That's probably once in a few decades, maybe once in a century. Is people have vision. Sometimes they lack execution. Sometimes they can execute, but they don't have great vision to build. And then the third part is you can have all of those. Then if you can make it commercially viable, then you can succeed. So he had all three of these. Of course, not everything he does is great, right? Of course, it all comes as a package. You have to take it with it. But from that perspective, the three things I liked about is how big, how grand the vision is, how relentless his execution is, and then the commercial aspect of it. He kind of somehow he packages it so well commercially, making things more viable for everyone.
And I feel like, I don't want to call him your mentor, but I look at you at Tekion and your vision and your execution, you're good at those two things. And I think I didn't know this until today, but you probably picked that up from him and said, I'm going to be really good at this in my business.
Yes, a little bit. So many things I should say. Fortunately, I had this, every job I was in, the next one was more challenging than the previous one. And I always felt, of course, being in the middle of it was not easy. It was always a grind. But very quickly, the amount of learning and the satisfaction and how gratifying it was a big deal. So I think it was built upon, I think is the right way to say. I learned purely build reliable, scalable software at Oracle. How do you run through hyper growth in a really high pace, still deliver at VMware, right from IPO through the high growth period. And then at Tesla, of course, learned a lot from Elon as well. So I'd say it kind of added up quite a bit. So at Tekion, it'd be true to say, I apply many of it from Oracle, VMware, and what I learned from Elon at Tesla.
So let's talk Tekion. So in my mind, there's nothing harder than building a DMS. And you said, well, let me just go to the hardest thing with the biggest competitors, with the longest contracts. And everybody's like, I'm sure they're like, I don't know, there's been 20 of these guys. Right. You're going to be 21 and you're done. Yep. Right? Tell me about that.
Yeah. Well, yes, it was rough first few years. One thing was I was extremely convinced that I'm going to build. So there was when we started this building the platform, I wanted to build the entire. So if you call it as a DMS, yes, that's the big portion of it. But people understood what a DMS is. For me, it's much bigger than a DMS. As you know, Chase, now you've been relatively close to the company and what we have added from a platform perspective. The idea is you can't separate as a consumer. Think about it this way. So I am Jay Vijayan or Chase Fraser. So when you go to shop for a car or for a service, you shouldn't care how many systems your data jumps through. You can call it as whatever you want, DMS and CRM and service lane and whatever, payroll, lead management system, all kinds of things. But when you think about a consumer, you need to deliver a seamless consumer experience. That's where it needs to start. And I think Glenn talked about car. Of course, It's the obvious thing. It's the biggest purchase for a consumer after house. If people expect things should be so easy in shopping in Amazon or an Apple, buying a car should be the experience I'm talking about, about software. So now work backwards from it. Starting from consumer experience, how do you enable the businesses, which is the dealers, and the OEMs, connect to the OEMs, the entire experience, how do you deliver it seamlessly? That was the vision for Tekion. Then I said, where do we solve? We started with something called as digital service experience to try it out, but elephant in the room has always been DMS. And I saw it clear because dealers couldn't solve it. It's a monolith sits in dealers, their operations, still sitting in servers. Of course, I think because of Tekion, they're, rapidly trying to push the 50, 60-year-old system into AWS and Azure and call it as cloud. Instead of rebuilding something that is truly valuable. I mean, I'm happy that we are pushing everyone to innovate as well equally. The idea was, yes, and a lot of people discouraged us. And with good intention, and I say good intention because people have seen it, and like you said, people who have been in the industry know it doesn't work. They tried multiple times, like you said, everyone, including big companies like Microsoft and SAP tried sometimes. I know even Salesforce tried because they tried to sell it to us at Tesla. So there are many companies, big companies tried, and there are many small companies. And outside of the big three, there are like, I would say, 24 DMS companies, which probably scratching the surface here and there. And people who really hate the top two went to the third or one of the others. But end of the day, it didn't solve the purpose. It was not easy because the complexities in the industry, because we started with something, a lot of people advise, like, start with something with machine learning, AI, you can do it coming from Tesla, solve lead management problem, so there are many problems to solve for dealers, no doubt about it. But I clearly felt it's not going to move the needle at all. There's no way, yes, we can be, 1001 of already 1,000 solutions, point solutions that exist. It's not going to solve the problem comprehensively. So the idea was, how do we bring the core consumer workflows in one platform and enable dealers to deliver the best customer experience they could deliver for the three customer workflows, right? Vehicle buying, shopping and buying experience, service, and then the engagement. Doesn't matter what they buy, accessory or a part, or they just get a code. How do you, the CRM experience itself. So that was the grand vision. We went about starting to build it. We were in stealth mode almost for 3.5, 4 years. A lot of people advised. We started in 2016. Our first ever press release was 2019, late Q4. Until then, we didn't. We wanted to heads down build the software. We did not sit in a building to just build the software. We had some great dealers support us in very early days. They even gave us office in their dealership and say, "This, Jay, this is a massive problem to solve. We are ready to give whatever."
When you owned a dealership.
Yes, we
for that reason, to where you could touch it and feel it.
in the process of selling them. Yes, we bought exactly. So this is another thing. Early days, I made a decision. We can buy. There were 2 dealers. So the first ever dealership that we started. The pilot, the DMS was running successfully. Very soon, the dealer owner, I came to know, he told me, he said, "Jay, I want to sell it because I own auto malls. This is just one dealership that is separate. Of course, I'm going to roll out Tekion across all of my dealership, but this one dealership is separate, so I wanted to sell it, and there is already offers in the hand." And then for me, it was even sentimentally, that was the first ever dealership. We ran our DMS pilot. And then my idea was, how can we improve the software drastically when we sit and talk to dealers and try, selling the software? We don't want to be talking about technology. We want to talk about business problems. How are we solving the business problems? How do we understand their business? I wanted my team to have unfiltered access to dealership department and businesses. So we ended up buying that dealership. It was not easy. Many of my executives even were extremely concerned. We were very small at that time. We didn't have a lot of money. People said it could go wrong completely, Jay, because you could lose money if the market goes down. Many things could go wrong. The second thing they also said is dealers could take this as a competition. you're a DMS company, if you start owning a dealership and selling cars, there are dealers who could take this as a competition. In fact, both of these, it was a tough move, say even a bold move. We bought 2 dealerships because we wanted to also try multi-brand, centralized accounting and enterprise and other things. So we bought 2 dealerships close to each other. In fact, it worked out extremely well. We made a lot of money in those dealerships. A lot of great things came out of the dealership. In fact, during COVID, the whole zero contact thing, what we in Tekion, you have zero contact sales, zero contact service. My team developed in 8 weeks. 6 to 8 weeks, we had the software up and running because we had a dealership. So we knew the problems, we were able to solve that. And then now we are in the process of selling the dealership, mainly because we got all the benefits out of it. We don't want that to be, we're not in the business of selling cars, we're in the business of selling software to people who sell cars. So slowly in the process of selling that dealerships, one is already in contract.
And I'm only pointing down here. We've got 30 seconds, but we're going to go a little long just because I feel like this is good stuff, if that's good with the group. 2 quick questions. So talk about AI and just what you think it's going to do to us as just consumers.
Yeah.
And then what's going to happen in auto, and can you do that in a minute and a half? And then I got one more question for you.
Okay, I'll try. Yeah, I think AI, of course, as you know well, it's a lot of excitement. I'd say a lot of anxiety as well about AI. The idea, the way we look at, we've been working on it we've been working on it from inception, but generative AI for the last 18 months. We launched our generative AI feature in NADA, launched it, and even before that, CRM as CRM Pro. The idea is the last mile B2B, getting it right, getting it perfect, it's going to take some time. You need to please work with companies that really focus on safety, security of AI. Executing it reliably is going to be important, because otherwise you're going to be tempted with tons and tons of software in AI, but who understands the business, who understands the context, and then the last mile is going to be very important. AI is going to evolve. People definitely need to understand deeper how much of a difference it's going to make to their business.
Last question. What is your absolute favorite part of running Tekion? You get up and you're like, I love that part of my job.
Yes. It is about hearing from customers every day how cool it is, right? All the hard work we put in, my team works extremely hard. Obviously, I need to work hard to make sure that my team works hard. The idea is how much value we are bringing that keeps growing. It has a snowball, flywheel effect. The more and more every day, sometimes multiple times a day, sometimes multiple times a week, I hear from customers, they rave in social media about how cool it is, using Tekion. Even dealers who just went live the first week, first month, they're like, wow, okay, this is changing my business. That's what it is. I love talking to dealers, talking to their businesses. I wish I can do more. I visit dealers all the time. The more I can do, that's the key. I force my team to be in front of customers, be in front of dealers, to understand their business and make sure we keep pushing the bar higher.
As an investor, I love to hear that. And as an investor, I've got a vested interest in your success. So I'm excited for you. This is a very humble man, and he doesn't have to be a humble man. And for those of you that don't know him, he's just a solid guy. And just because of that, I want you to win.
You're kind. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks. That was great. Thank you.
Before you guys go, please have a seat.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good. So Jay is a humble guy, and I would argue, I don't think anybody can dispute, the most important disruptor, right, in the automotive space right now is sitting up here. So I'd like to extend, for a couple of minutes, and if you're okay with it, Jay, only from the dealers in the audience. The vendors can interact with Jay afterwards. But I know that dealers and dealer principals don't necessarily have a lot of opportunity to interact with you. And Jay, given his background that you heard today and the position that he's in, do any of the dealers in the audience have questions that they want to ask Jay?
I'd love that, please.
And if not, that's okay. But I mean, there's a unique opportunity for you to ask questions of Jay.
Sure.
Please.
I've got a handful of dealerships here in Southern California, Orange County, and we're looking at Tekion in the next 2 years.
Thank you.
One of the biggest challenges that we found is the claim of the different DMS is to be integrated with all of these different items, whether it's the CRM tool to finance and the like. I know that your company is supposed to be fully integrated across the board. Yeah. So is that the result of you guys developing everything from scratch, or are you acquiring companies to get there? And if you could just elaborate.
No, great question. Not against acquiring, but we haven't acquired, except for one company which you may have seen, a small company which was quite complimentary about out-of-state tax calculations, titling and registration company. That's the only company we have acquired so far. Everything has been developed ground up. We integrate with, again, we want to be a very open platform, and we are an open platform. So we have Tekion CRM that's evolving, lightning fast, everything with generative AI. But we integrate with all of the top CRM companies today. So end of the day, we want to give choice to our dealers. If our dealers feel Tekion is the best, absolutely they should use that. If they feel there is another system that is better to use, because we have almost 400 other partners that we integrate with, much better integration. So that's how. So the philosophy is core to the business we are developing within the platform, but we integrate, there are many partners that we integrate with. But all of the key ones that you mentioned, like CRM, service lane, these are all developed ground up. And solely integrated, and that's how our customers love. And in Southern California, we have some great partners, including Longo Toyota, and the whole group there, Penske Motor Group.
Other questions from dealers in the audience?
Good one.
Hi, Ryan Maher. We got 14 stores in Missouri. Vendor fees. Is Tekion going to stay vendor-free forever? And why does that work for your business model when CDK and Reynolds charge absurd amounts of money to integrate?
A good question. I think you're talking about integration fee.
Yeah.
Yes. So honestly, that's from day one has been a value that we want to provide to dealers. So the way today they do is, but I think to be honest with you, I think it's reality. Yes, there is some business reason to cover the cost, but they got greedy, I think. The problem was, you have, as a DMS, you sit in the center, and you have to integrate with, like, say, 30 different applications, right? Maybe 10, maybe 20, maybe 30, depends on the size of the dealer. So every one of them they start charging, of course, they get a lot of money, but they all pass it on to the dealers, which is not fair. So what we have done is, we created three we have a partner cloud. We created part of our platform. Part of the partner cloud, we have three types of partner integrations, APIs. We publish standard open API libraries, which is free, which is going to be free for foreseeable future. That's how I plan to keep it that way. We have enterprise APIs. There are some partners who want deeper integrations, because at the end of the day, it's a balance. For us, libraries we keep publishing based on our roadmap. If there is an open library API that's available, any partner can use. It has to go through the dealer approval. If the dealer approves, they can integrate, and it's free. Enterprise is something they pay monthly fee. If they want deeper integration, it's not available in our library, then there is a cost involved, but it's very, very nominal cost. And then we have strategic partnership where we have deeply embedded integrations, right? Like if you want to have a loaner management system that are deeply integrated in the workflow, F&I, we integrate with Penn and Azure. So deeply integrated, embedded, we have strategic partnership, so slightly different fee structure. Again, we'll be very, very transparent. That's how we've been with our partners and dealers. So to answer your core question, the open API standard libraries are going to be free for forever. That's my wish.
One last question from a dealer in the audience.
Hi, Jay. Sean Flynn, Phil Long Dealerships in Colorado. We got 17 stores. I kind of go back and forth regularly with our CTO about you guys because he really likes Tekion. We've had CDK. We've had it for a long time. I think the real question is maybe put your sales hat on for us a little bit, but why would we switch over to Tekion at this point? Is it going to really help us sell one more vehicle? And that's kind of the thing we go back on. When we're talking to Cox Automotive about some of their products, it's the same thing. Switching over to a better system or a system, single database system, things like that. Is that really going to help us sell one more vehicle? Just your thoughts on that.
Yeah,
moving
I
forward.
know, absolutely. The idea for us is we want to earn your business. It has to be compelling proposition from multiple perspectives. Number one, yes, absolutely. Help you sell a lot more cars, help you retain tons of customers. It's about today's world is customer experience, right? I know retention is not that easy today. Loyalty is not that easy. But if you start with a great experience buying a car or even for fixed ops servicing experience, that is one. Then the final is the efficiency and cost, operational efficiency. With Tekion, there is no real apples to apples comparison to a CDK, and also because we are different in multiple perspectives. One platform, there is so much it saves cost as well. So these three things I would say. Number one, selling more, and then making your staff really efficient in selling more, right? So that they have everything in their perspective. Number two is customer experience and retention, which is a big deal. And then the last one is cost operational efficiency, which is also very important, right? The thing with Tekion, you will talk to your dealers, is change is very, very tough. But Tekion change is probably the easiest among any DMS. I'm not going to say Tekion is going to be easy, but it's going to be the easiest among any DMS switch or change, because we are there with you for a very, very long time, hand-holding our customers. And you can talk to any of our dealer partners, irrespective of what they say of anything outside of course, being a great platform, they'll say they're great people, which I want that to be that way forever in the future. It will also, the value will grow exponentially. That's something, it's in our DNA. The way I feel about personally to my employees, the way I tell them also is always, be it your career or be it your service or a product, deliver more value than what is expected of you, then automatically money doesn't become a problem, right? So that's how we work. So I hope that answers your question. And please, call me or email me anytime, jay@tekion.com, jay@tekion.com. If you're not convinced or if you need any more details I could provide, I'd be more than happy to.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great. Round of applause, please, for Jay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was fun, bud. Good hanging out. Thank you.